Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to this energy update for August 2024. And there's just so much that's happening right now that's leading into August. I am recording this today on the 21st of July, which is the date of the second full moon in Capricorn in a row. That means it's an astrological blue moon, and we're going to be talking about that in a little bit because I feel like the energies of August are really everything that's happening here in July, and I'll talk about that in a bit, is building up to something really big that's happening in the ethers, right? That's going to start being released in August. And so I just want to go through a few kind of astrological events that are happening. Hi, Joanna. So that we can get a bigger context around these energies of August 2024. And then I'm also going to share a new painting, which is a channel that's got some channeled information to help us through this time, and just sort of some downloads around this period of time that we're in and the energies of August. And also what we can do to prepare and really fully align ourselves to really step into our power in a beautiful way at this time. So starting with just the astrological sequence and what we're in the middle of right now. This is something that I didn't really cover in my July energies because I'm not an astrologer. I just kind of follow what Spirit tells me. And it was funny because Spirit kept pointing to this date, right? This date of July 21st as important. And I didn't really pick up on that so much until after I started tuning into the August energies, right? So, and I'll tell you how that happened in just a bit, but the August, I do want to put this in sequence. Okay, so earlier this month in July, something called the Sirius portal opened, right? And that refers to the star Sirius, which I won't get into all the ins and outs, but that opened on July 5th. The Sirius is associated with a lot of awakening energies and really, really powerful light codes, right? So these are hitting the planet right now. And that portal is really, I feel it's like really going to be wide open here through about August 6th, which is the cross quarter date, and also the Lion's Gate portal, the 8-8, okay, which happens every year in August, right? So that is one of the biggest events that we're going to be looking forward to in August is the Lion's Gate. But to really understand or grasp the Lion's Gate, we have to understand that it's this big influx of light codes that's happening through the whole previous month, right, leading up to Lion's Gate. Okay, so in August, the early August, the Lion's Gate, it's also one of the cross-quarter dates of the year, Lammas, which is traditionally the harvest festival, but it's a very, very powerful astrological event that happens. It's one of 4 cross-quarter dates, and that means it's halfway between the solstice and the equinox. That happens every year, okay? And this is the one that's really filled with this high light energy, right? The light coming in from Sirius, which is like the spiritual sun, hitting the earth and really culminating at that time in early August. So that's a big event that we're looking into next month. Also, Mercury is going to be in retrograde for much of August 5th through the 28th, right? Mercury, the planet of communication. We all look forward to Mercury retrograde every year, but it is important to realize that Mercury retrograde does not have to be a negative thing. Often it's an invitation to really look within and do some inner work, right? And then also, of course, the sun is going to be in Leo, has just entered Leo at this time, and we're going to be in Leo throughout much of August. So there's that Leonine, that very powerful solar energy that's so prevalent this time of year. Okay, so when I tuned into the energies of August 2024, if you don't know me, I work a lot with kind of the Akashic guides and just tuning in and receiving information from them. And especially, I'm really tuned into the kind of the energies of New Earth and human evolution, the evolution of consciousness on the planet. So that's really kind of what I have in mind when I tune in and do these inquiries. And the first thing that I was shown was this image of a deer or a stag with the horns. And what I saw, and I don't have my journal with me, but I sketched it in my journal, was the antlers actually had leaves and things sprouting from them. Okay, so it was this it- kind of like a tree of life mixed with the deer, all right? And so that led to this painting here, which I call Greenhorn, because that was uh, the first thing they told me was greenhorn, and then they showed me the deer, right? And I also call it the crowning, because it really called attention to the crown chakra and growth in the crown chakra. So right away, what I'm getting about the energies of August, what this is all unleashing, what these light codes are bringing in right now at this moment, that's really helping to activate, is a very powerful activation of the divine masculine energies. Okay, and so when I asked about it, I was given these almost bullet points, very, very concise little bits of information, which is very different from how I usually channel. So it shows that there's something different about these energies. First of all, it showed me the image, and then it said growth in the crown chakra, right? So we are inviting in just a higher level of consciousness that's going to be, thank you, Joanna. I should show that. There we go. um, so yeah, we're inviting in a higher level of consciousness right now, and an awakening of this divine masculine and a support of the divine masculine. And it also told me it's a reawakening of ancient energies. Okay, I'm going to talk about that in a moment. Also, a revitalization of the masculine principle. All right, so let's talk about that masculine principle, because it's something that that I think is very highly misunderstood, but it's really important if we're talking about building the new earth or welcoming in, the new energies of love and harmony and unification. Right, the masculine is very, very important. We hear a lot about the divine feminine and the rise of the goddess and the rise of the divine feminine, but given the universal spiritual laws, right? There's the law of gender. We have both genders, masculine and feminine, and they need to work together in harmony, right? So this welcoming in and this awakening of divine masculine, to me, is a huge, huge, beautiful step that needs to be taken, right? Because the goddess cannot come into full power in a good, in a beautiful, in a divine way if that God energy is not there to support her, and vice versa. They need each other. They are, the two polarities of creation, the things that come together to create new life and regenerate, right? So this divine masculine is very beautiful, but we need to understand that it's very powerful and that it is easy to mistake real divine masculine, right, for toxic masculine, right, which is the dark masculine. And there's a big narrative out there that talks about toxic masculinity and that labels anything that is powerfully masculine as toxic, right? And we need to let go of that. We need to shed that like the antlers, right? Shed it like the snake. And that's partly what this full moon right now today is about, is shedding some of those false narratives around the masculine. What that means is that our divine feminine feminine really has to come forward and shed those beliefs, right? And so that we can move forward in a powerfully feminine way as well to support this, okay? And I have an event that's happening in just under an hour that I'd love to invite you to if you are catching this live. And we're going to be really tuning into those lunar energies, tuning into the energies of today, and working with some powerful goddesses, 5 powerful goddesses that will help us to anchor into our divine feminine in a way that can hold space for this incredibly powerful masculine energy that is rising. Okay. So a couple other bullet points. I'm going to come back to the divine masculine, but hope is one, right? There's so much that's in the news that's so kind of scary or whatever, but it's saying hope, like this is huge. Things are changing, and they can be changing in a really beautiful way. Also, the wood element is coming forward from Chinese medicine. Wood element is this element of growth and moving up and expanding and flowering and blooming. This is really strong at this time for August 2024. Again, new things coming forward. And it says a month of building and setting sights on new horizons. Okay. So I'm gonna, wow, there's so much here. But one thing that's coming forward really strongly, this is going to be huge changes ahead. And they may seem kind of scary, especially if we're listening to a lot of news. But really, I want to emphasize that this is a lot of this new earth energy, the divine consciousness that is rising on the planet right now, that's really awakening, coming up into a higher level and really starting to materialize in very tangible ways with the assistance of the divine masculine. Because what the masculine does, it's an initiator, right? It gets things going, it gets things moving. It's a get her done kind of energy, right? It's a kind of a building, and it also can be very protective, right? And there's a destructive aspect that is, I think, if you think of like Archangel Michael and his sword, it's that kind of aspect. It's like we're not having any more nonsense. And there's actually an aspect of the divine feminine that is that same way, right? Very kind of warrior energy that's coming forward really big, right? So what that's telling me is all this polarity that's going on in the world, we may see that starting to really come to a head in the second half of 2024. All right. So I'm saying this to prepare all of us, right? So that we are not afraid of it, because what it really is part of the awakening process. And if you have ever been through a dark night of the soul, you understand what this is. It's like if you have your life or something, energies that you've kind of built up personally around you, and that you've come to this point of awakening. Anything that's built on falsehood, false identity that you've built, that's built up on other people's expectations of you, or of false beliefs or anything like that, it's going to fall away. And sometimes it's in a painful way, because our ego has clung to those things as things that kind of saw us through certain stages. But at some point, it comes to the point where you have to shed those old beliefs. And in so doing, a lot of times, because things start in the mind, they start with the beliefs and the ideas, and then they manifest into the world. Sometimes, a lot of the times, most of the time, when we shed those beliefs, things crumble and start to fall away or break apart in our physical lives. And we have to understand, and especially if you've been through a spiritual awakening, you've experienced it, that when those things fall apart, what it does is it opens up and makes room for new things to come forward. That's what we're seeing here with this deer energy, with the divine masculine, with the antlers, with the things growing. That is what we're making room for. These are the new earth, the new consciousness. If you're come from a Christian background, it's the kingdom of heaven that we're beginning to start to see building and starting to manifest in a tangible way on earth. I'm seeing many, many signs of it. People really starting to wake up and to come together and to build really cool things, initiatives, new organizations, new ways of seeing things, of collaborating with each other. There's so much of that happening that is often not in the limelight as the media focuses on the old structures that are falling down. So we have to be very, very aware of this new energy that is actually rising up. And I'm feeling like the new infrastructure of the new earth, we're going to start to see that really start to accelerate as tangible things, organizations building up, new infrastructures building up that are very in alignment with a more heart-centered, a new earth, divine kingdom kind of world that we are actually building, right? This is a very real new consciousness, and we are building new earth right here. It's so exciting to me. But again, we've got that polarity. So the warrior aspect is coming forward, and what we need to understand is all the signs of conflict around in the world are simply, it's kind of manifesting that the old stuff is going away, but the real conflict, right? The real war that's being held, whether it's showing up as wars all over the world, or if it's showing up as conflicts within our cities or whatever, we have to understand that the actual starting point of that is very spiritual, and it plays out within each of us, right? So it comes down to each of us as an individual, starting to or continuing to, recognize the polarities within us, and to start to really discern where we're not in our truth, and to really step into embracing the truth of we are, which at its core is divine love, right? That is our truth, the divine love. And when we start to really hone in on that, and to start to really be truthful and honest with ourselves as to what it is that we want, what makes us feel good, where's the vibration that makes us feel really aligned with spirit, that is true spiritual warfare. And sometimes it demands that we stand up and stand up for, okay, well, this is, I'm not going to put up with whatever it is anymore. I'm not going to allow myself to be small anymore. I'm not going to allow myself to say it's okay when it's not, right? And we can do this in ways that are not abrasive, but it's really important that we really stand true to ourselves, right? When it comes to masculine and feminine energies, we both have both, right? We all have both of those. We're working with both. So when we recognize the divine masculine within ourselves, it's often an energy that is very dynamic, an energy that is um, uh, proactive. That's like I said, get her done, right? That an energy that sees a goal and recognizes, what we're working towards, and really focuses on that. It's very focused, and it can be very straightforward, right? And sometimes when we see that powerful energy that's really just woof moving forward, it'll start triggering all these narratives, especially when we see it in others, and especially when we see it in actual, people who embody the divine masculine. We need to be aware of when a man especially comes into the field. We need to really feel into, okay, is that powerful energy? Sometimes all the voices are going to be saying that's toxic. Well, we have to really look at the fruit of what this, whoever it is, whether it's the divine masculine within yourself, or if it's a man in your life, or it's if a man or a masculine or somebody, it could be even a woman embodying the divine masculine in the greater collective in the media. If that person is really holding that divine masculine energy, there may be a lot of voices saying, oh, that's toxic, right? Or that's so we need to make our own decisions. There are so many headlines and little sound bites out there that will try to tear down this energy. So we need to actually call that and say, hey, look, is that little headline, is that soundbite, is that true? If it's a quote, did that person really say that? And if so, can I look at it in context? We need to look at it in context so that we see, okay, what's the actual intention behind this, right? And what are the actual fruits, right? If we can look and see if it's a person in our lives, it's like, what have they brought forth already, and what were the consequences of that? What did it actually look like? And look beyond what you might be called to zero in on, and look at the whole picture of what that person is actually doing. Or if it's this driven energy within yourself, look at it in context. What is the feeling behind it? What's the vibration? Does it feel like wow, right? Or does it feel kind of ew? Feel into the vibration, right? And get beyond the narratives. And then again, let's look at the divine feminine, right? Because that is actually key. The divine masculine is so important and so powerful in actually breaking through old patterns, right? But it has to have support from the feminine. And what that does is like actually really holding space and holding very grounded space. And because it's that feminine energy that can hold the energy of the masculine, and then help it and work with it to expand and bring it into the world, right? And so again, I invite you to join me in just over half an hour. The link is in the description box below to join for that free event. All right, so couple things here. I asked my Akashic guides, what can we do to align with this energy to help really support this divine masculine unfolding and flowering, and to be able to access our divine feminine of holding of this energy and holding space for it so that it can start to thrive and flourish, right? They said, remember, this is a process. To stay in the flow and keep your expectations in alignment with the seasons. Okay. They said there are seasons for plenty, for tending, for harvest, for putting away, and for rest. To know what season you are in for each activity you are involved in, that may be different depending on if you are maybe have a creative project going. It might be in a different season than maybe a love relationship, right? So we have to be very, very aware and discerning of, okay, well, where's the energy flowing? And is this a time that I need to be resting here, or maybe bringing it up here, right? Maybe health-wise, I might need to jump in and start working out more, or maybe it's a time for rest. So really starting to be aware of the cycles and the seasons and the rhythms of what we're moving through. It's going to be different for everybody. For some, August may be a time where we need to sit in meditation and really go within. For others, it may be a time of activity, of building something new. Okay. And by the way, I'm feeling like there's a big section of people that may be listening to this that may be called into maybe a really new shift, right? A shift that's going to help you to really embody your purpose, or step into a new chapter, or step more powerfully into your purpose, or what you're doing. For some, I'm hearing a lot of people's like being called to either move or to shift what they're doing, maybe in business, to start a new career, to maybe new relationships starting for some of you. Maybe some of you are going to be finding a twin flame kind of relationship, right? There's so much potential here, but you're going to need to figure out your feel into, right? Just open yourself to, okay, what does this feel like for me? Remembering that sometimes, sometimes shifting into something new is really active. Sometimes it's much more passive, right? Where we have to really open to the energies. And again, it's the season that you're in. If you've just come out of a season of really receiving a lot of light codes and stuff, you may be ready to move up into a much more active phase, really align with that divine masculine. If you're just coming out of a very, very busy, frenetic kind of season, it may be calling you into, okay, let's step into my divine feminine and really receive and have a period of rest. So it's you have to feel into what's good for you and what season you're in, right? But it's saying to celebrate each season in turn, acknowledge the trials and the triumphs of each season, and do not rush the process. Trust, right? Trust, maybe a key word going into the second half of 2024. Trust that spirit has our back, that spirit's moving in all these magnificent ways, that there is a grand tapestry that is being woven, that's being unfolding right now, and that our job is as individuals to feel into, well, what is our thread in that tapestry, and to really tend our own thread. All right, and then also trust that we are protected. And I'm going to leave you here with this beautiful, almost like a poem or a mantra. And because as I did this painting, also this in the painting, this came to me first as the sun, and then it also came as the moon, and also I'm also seeing Mars in it. So this rising of Mars energy. So a lot of kind of energies that are embedded in this this image here, and also there's words in here because I was kind of led into this this poem or corslet of faith. It's called The Deer's Cry. And it's also called St. Patrick's Breastplate because it has to do with St. Patrick, which I thought was really cool because of all the green color that came through in this painting. And it is a kind of a mantra of protection. It refers to a story from the life of St. Patrick. And in this story, he was had been lighting this fire, right, for, I think it was for Beltane, actually, which I think this links actually all the way into the Beltane, was really lit some of the stuff that's happening right now and lit the way for these light codes that are coming in. Anyway, St. Patrick was kind of being hunted down by this king, what was not happy with him for lighting these fires. And what happened was the king was looking for him, the king and his men, and St. Patrick was kind of trying to get away. And when the king and his men were watching for St. Patrick, all they saw was a herd of deer going past, because St. Patrick has this divine protection and this kind of veil of illusion, right, that helped him to protect him so that he could pass by unseen and unharmed. And so a part of what's really coming forward is to trust in the process and to trust that we are protected, and that when we call on the divine energy within us, which is the Christ energy, this energy of ascension. And by Christ, what I mean is if you have any baggage around the word Christ, please shed it right now, because what it refers to is this evolutionary energy, right? The energy of the expansion of consciousness as it comes through us as human beings, okay? And so this little corslet, this mantra, calls on the protective energy of Christ. And I'm going to just read it to you because I think it's very beautiful. It's called The Deer's Cry. And it says, I arise today through the strength of heaven, light of sun, radiance of moon, splendor of fire, speed of lightning, swiftness of wind, depth of sea, stability of earth, firmness of rock. I arise today through God's strength to pilot me, God's eye to look before me, God's wisdom to guide me, God's way to lie before me, God's shield to protect me from all who shall wish me ill, afar and anear, alone and in a multitude, against every cruel, merciless power that may oppose my body and soul. Christ with me, Christ before me, Christ behind me, Christ in me, Christ beneath me, Christ above me, Christ on my right, Christ on my left, Christ when I lie down, Christ when I sit down, Christ when I arise, Christ to shield me, Christ in the heart of everyone who thinks of me, Christ in the mouth of everyone who speaks of me. I arise today. All right. And so just this beautiful protective prayer calling on this power of the Christ essence. Again, if you have any baggage around the words Christ or God, just substitute whatever works for you, right? But really, this is the energy that's rising, the energy that we can all call on for protection and for guidance, right? The love of our heart is what it comes to. And again, this heart really came in. This is the heart energy. This is the divine masculine energy and the divine feminine energy that are working through an open heart. It's the energy of the heart. The heart is the portal through which we move in order to really attain and start to move into this fifth dimensional energy of the kingdom, energy of new earth, this higher consciousness energy of love that we are inviting into the world at this time, inviting into our hearts, and it's through our hearts that we move through this. All right, so this painting I did put on my website for sale. It's available as the original and as the print. As always, I feel like there's going to be one person that this really speaks to, that you're meant to have it. It channels, it is a portal for this Christ energy, this divine masculine, this awakening, as well as very protective. I have some of the words of that prayer right in the piece. So check that out if it calls to you. And again, I invite you to join me in about half an hour if you see this live at 1 p.m. Eastern on the 21st. For a powerful group guided meditation event, calling on and building on those energies of the divine feminine. And again, 5 powerful goddesses we're going to be working with. Beyond that, then just enjoy your August. This is an incredibly powerful time, really new beginnings, big changes. And I think we all have to remember that this is something we are creating together, right? This is a call to shed anything that is outside of yourself, right? This is a call to really step into our agency and our power as individuals and to work with our own internal Christ energies, because it's through the individuals, it's through this triumph of love within each individual person, no matter where you are on earth, no matter, what your gender identity, what your race, whatever, right? Doesn't matter. We all have that Christ energy within us. And when we learn as individuals to, in our own individual way, move into that and work from that and live from that and love from that, that is how we bring this beautiful new earth kingdom energy into actual reality. And again, this is stepping up and forward, really big time in August. I'm so excited for this time we're in. So many blessings to you. I love you so much. Have a wonderful August, and we'll see you again soon. Remember, you were born to be free. And thank you, Joanna. Yeah, see you on Zoom.